I'm here with the Hall of Famers. Oh, that's not a Hall of Famer. Are you a Hall of Famer?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, you're like,
Yeah.
how long have you been a Hall of Famer?
About 2 years. 2 years.
3 years.
They start losing their memory once they become Hall of Famers.
So where did they start this, Coach?
A few years ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Oh, so it's been that long? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they needed to do something during halftime, so they said, "Hey, let's bring out the Hall of Fame folks."
Oh, okay.
What are you laughing about over there? Look, we got folks from Southeast Alabama making fun of.
No, we are
How's
not.
your team going to do tonight?
All right, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, yeah, but look, as the coach was saying here, if you had Mr. Dee Marsh on that team, you'd be kicking butt. Can I say kicking butt?
Sure. You can
Sure.
say whatever comes
All
to
right.
mind, buddy.
Hey, what's the best thing you can say about your old coach?
How long do we have?
It's okay. I don't want to make this too long.
Nah. Well, he was very honest.
What's the most honest thing you ever said?
Well, I can't say that on camera. Yeah, I don't think that'll be appropriate. Because, back then...
That might be children watching.
Yeah, I mean, but Coach was he was very honest. He pushed us hard in practice. He was always fair to all the guys. He had a passion for what for coaching us, and I mean he was one of my mentors coming through.
And you turned out all right, didn't you?
I turned out okay. I turned out okay. Yeah, I'm still here, and
You still work out, don't you? You look like you've been pumped.
Well,
out
I've been a UPS driver for like 26 years, so getting in and off the truck, man, you have to be in some
now,
type
are you
of
supposed
shape.
to walk behind the truck or in front of the truck?
You're supposed to walk behind the truck.
Behind the truck,
Yeah.
right.
So you can see all the traffic coming
Gotcha.
and give yourself time to, if somebody's veering off the road or whatever, time to react is what they say, yeah.
So that quarterbacking that you did has really helped out.
Yeah, it's the thing about sports, man, is it can carry on throughout your life journey in some form or fashion in whatever you do. So
Let me ask you this. I've been shooting sports for over 20 years, and I feel, and I want to see if you agree with this, that anyone who's involved in extracurricular activities, especially sports in high school, will do well in school and do well in life. What are your thoughts?
I totally agree because, sports give you if you think about it, like say from a company standpoint, all great companies have a great team that leads them, to whatever heights that the company, will conquer as a company. So sports kind of does that. It has a camaraderie that you can't find anywhere else because you spend a lot of time together. Depending on what sport you play, you go to battle with one another. And you're fighting for your fellow man, whether that's basketball, baseball, football, whatever you play. So, I think it's great. So when I started playing sports when I was real young, it was something that I had a passion for, and it was an outlet as well, because I come from a small town and it really wasn't a lot to do. So, you either stay in the house or you go play sports somewhere, Pee-wee or, whatever little leagues are around town. I just want to be a part of all of it. I want to play it all, baseball, football, basketball.
All-state football player. He carried right that into basketball and right that into baseball. He was a three-sport phenom, really. You don't have many of those anymore.
I attribute a lot of that to my dad because he was a natural athlete.
Now, did your dad cheer you on more or your mama cheer you on more?
I would say my dad. Both of them kind of reserved. So, they weren't the rah-rah type parents. They were the type that would just sit back and maybe clap,
But you said your dad was an athlete, so what was his
Well,
sport of
he
choice?
baseball.
Okay.
He loved baseball. He was a big Braves fan. He passed away in 2015, but he was a natural too. He was kind of just self-taught, but baseball was definitely his passion and the sport he loved most. Yeah.
Now it said here that you were a dual threat. You did 1,230 yards through the air during your senior season and 546 rushing yards. So you were a dual threat before it became a common type of theme.
Well, growing up, you know, one of the things I used to play ball in the streets, meaning like, you know, we really didn't have a field. You know what I mean? It was kind of backyard play, and I always grew up with guys that were older than me. So honestly, I was always running for my life because they were much bigger and faster.
They weren't going to be kind to you.
Right.
They were going to take down Dee.
You're right.
That little guy
right.
wasn't going to outrun us.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, where I grew up, they didn't care that you were younger or whatever. They just, you know, if you were out there, then you were just part of the play. So I think that's where a lot of the you know, as you call it, the dual threat came from. Just playing with older guys and just picking up on, you know, guys that I consider to be natural athletes, and just kind of modeling myself after that, man. Just, you know, let the chips fall where they may. So, you know, I feel like I was blessed with some pretty good athletic ability. I mean, I don't like to pat myself on the back, but you know.
Well, you are going to get pat on the back today because you got the honor. I mean, you're going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty cool honor. I mean, I didn't, you know, I found out a few years ago that they had started this, which I think is a great attribute to a lot of I mean, Northwood's had a lot of great athletes to come through here, man. I mean, dating back from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s when I came through, all the way up to date. So, you know, if they will be able to carry this tradition on for a long time because there's a lot of great athletes that have come, you know, that have attended this school. So I don't think they'll have a problem finding Hall of Fame athletes that walk the halls here.
Yeah, but
absolutely. You know, we had a great team, great teammates, great coaching staff.
I mean, it. You know, the media and the newspapers and stuff, they have to give, you know, they have to, you know, they have to give credit to somebody. I mean, you can't just always say the whole team. So, but we had a lot of great athletes. I mean, a guy named Irvin Council, Oglen Perry, Ben Perry, Eddie Atkins, Darryl Kirby. I mean, a lot of those guys were just natural athletes, and we kind of had a little all-star team. A lot of us played both ways, because, you know, back then, you know, you had some schools that had participation as far as like a lot of athletes that would come and participate in, especially football. I mean, you could go to some schools and they line up across the field, man, and they got 40, 50 guys, and we got, what, 25, 30.
Dee was, what's the guy's name that was at Colorado, played all snaps the other day, Colorado? Travis Hunter. Dee was our Travis Hunter. He was early on. He could play, and he'd go at it hard every play, and it was just. But you know, he's a little bit, you know, he's not going to talk about himself. But I will say that, you know, we put a lot on his shoulders. Coach Rivet as the offensive coordinator, but every time that we needed something to happen, we put it in Dee's hands and said, okay, let's make it happen. And for the most part,
decided to make him a quarterback instead of a running back.
Well, as he just said, we had some couple pretty good running backs. To be honest with you,
we had some great running backs. Somebody had to snap the ball and at least get the play started. So that's why I come in.
All right, we're going to hear one little story. Now, you're not going to embarrass Dee, are you?
No.
All right.
But we
Can I
had
believe a guy who's wearing a Titleist hat?
yeah, you can believe anybody.
Okay.
it's not a live golf hat.
We were down to our last game.
Your senior year?
Decide whether we're going to the playoffs or not, because we had had an incident to occur where we had an ineligible player and we had to win. And we were down to the last play, the last game, and I called timeout. And I went out and talked to that man right there. And I said, Dee, what can you do? He says, I can do whatever you need, Coach. And I drew a play on the ground. Literally drew it on the ground. He said, all right, we're going to spread them out. And we did. And I sent one on a deep post and told him to just stay alive and get the ball to him. And that play ended. This magnificent picture series comes where the ball comes down. He's fumbling it, catches it on his thigh pad, pulls it in for the touchdown so we can go to the playoffs. This man right here could make anything I draw. I could draw it, and he would make it happen. And I had players that would put it all together and do it.
Absolutely.
And Dee Marsh.
Yeah, Daryl actually inducted, I think, last year. I talked to him
Yeah,
about
but
a
that's
month
because
or so.
the ball hit off of his pads. If he hadn't done that, he probably wouldn't be here.
familiar. We heard it last year. Yeah.
Well, some stories are good for retelling.
Oh, that was good, yeah.
But there's only one Dee Marsh in that you were the first Tom Suitor Award winner. I mean, Tom Suitor's been around for like decades.
Yeah, well, actually, I think this.
You're getting mixed up with Todd.
Yeah, Todd is
Todd
the first one. Yeah,
Oh, Todd was.
Yeah.
You know
Todd was
what?
the first.
I'm sorry, Todd. Is he around here
yeah,
right now?
yeah,
Todd's
yeah.
back there,
He's
yeah.
back there in the back.
Okay. Look, Todd, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, it's fine.
Get your facts straight.
Look, I'm reading between the lines incorrectly. But you were a Tom Suitor Award winner, weren't you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Holy cow! And you were named. He was named best dressed.
I don't know about all that. No. I don't know who threw that in.
That was his NIL.
I know, right?
Look, let's not go there.
As they say, let's stick to the script.
Yeah. All right. So you're 1990 Player of the Year. Sanford Herald went ahead and named you that. You were the NCHSAA. I don't know how many A's they have. Player of the Week for 3 touchdown performance and a 42-7 win over Western Harnett. You had a great senior year, didn't you?
Yes, sir. I sure did. You know, aside from that mishap of having the ineligible guy, I mean, I think, you know, had the record been different to reflect what our true record was. I mean, because I think we only lost 2 games that year. You know, it could have been a different outcome because we, instead of us being in last place to make the playoffs, we could have been in first place and could have had home field advantage throughout the playoffs, you know, which changes things kind of, you know, drastically. If you got home field advantage, you're somewhat playing weaker opponents versus we played the state champions of that year and
That was
lost.
the first round.
And they only beat us 13-6, and
And we didn't have our best running back then.
then we didn't have
Probably
it.
weren't drawing up very good plays, were you?
I was drawing them all day long, all night long. It was an unbelievable game.
I still think about that game to this day, man. It's
And why do you think about it till this day?
well,
Are you serious? How many years? That's what, 1990?
30, 32.
30
and I mean, the reason I say that is, like I said, we didn't have our best running back that particular night. Actually, the game had to be postponed because it rained a lot. I think on that Friday when we went to Thomasville, so we had to play the next day.
Right.
You know, because the field was too wet. But you know, like I said, the circumstances back then, had we been, you know, number 1 seed versus going to the number 1 seed who eventually ended up winning the 2A state championship that year, you know, I think it could have been one of those magical runs for us to where we'd be talking about the state championship along with, you know, the other things that you're mentioning.
Well, as the coach mentioned, Northwood has had some good teams.
Oh, absolutely.
With some strong players.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's been a lot of great and continues to have great athletes to come through the school. So I think it's in a pretty good place. I mean, I love my time here. So and to kind of cap off, you know, my career here, you know, to be honored and be inducted to the Hall of Fame is truly it's an honor and it's humbling, to say the least. So I'm very grateful.
Tell me this. A lot of times you hear the bad stuff about student athletes.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've seen over the years that I've been shooting games is there's a lot of good stuff. So what could you say to somebody who's a student athlete these days? What do they need to do to just be successful both in school and in life? Because you're a prime example here. 33 years later, you're getting honored for what you can achieve in 1990. You got teammates, you got coaches that are still remembering what you did. I mean, that's you made an impression on folks. So tell us.
Well, I mean, I think if the number one thing, first and foremost, I'm a strong believer in the man upstairs. So, giving all honor to God, I would say that first. Secondly, is if you have somebody, some type of mentor in your life that is, whether it be a family member or somebody, that you just kind of know that sees a lot of value in you and wants to, invest themselves in you to be able to be the best person you can be, whether that's an athlete, academic athlete or whatever. I mean, I think I think kids they should take advantage of that because a lot of people don't. A lot of people trying to cash in on certain athletes as far as like, just trying to be in their life because they feel like they're going to go pro or something like that. To kind of reap some type of benefit later on. But if you have a good circle around you, or someone who wants to invest themselves in you personally to see that you kind of navigate this thing that we call life, I think you should kind of hold on to those type of relationships and just work your butt off and great things will happen in the end. I mean, you have to be passionate about what you're doing, though. I mean, it can't be a hobby. It has to be something that you're real passionate about, and the sky's the limit. I mean, I truly believe that.
You seem to have learned a lot outside the classroom in participating in sports. What are some of the biggest things you've learned besides working hard?
Well, just to be a good person. I mean, that's kind of, nowadays it's to say that a lot of good people, depends on who you talk to, it can be a little scarce in today's world. But I just try to, I try to practice what I preach, be positive, be as helpful as I can as a person, even if I don't know you. I mean, I like walking up to people and just kind of just speaking, even if I don't know you, just, whatever it is that they're doing, I'll say, hey, you're doing a great job, keep it up. And I think, that positivity, if we had more of that out here today, I mean, I think the world would be a little bit more peaceful, but, that's for another conversation.
As a believer, I'm going to ask you this question because I see it a lot. You mentioned about good people out there. Mm-hmm. What does being a believer and believing in the man upstairs mean to you, and what's it meant to you through your life?
Well, I'm nothing without him. I mean, that kind of just sums it up. I mean, my grandmother used to take me to church when I was real young, 3 or 4 years old. Although I used to sleep in the back of the church, I was still in the church. You know what I mean? So that planting that seed in me at an early age, I still give all the glory and the honor to him to this day. So, what it means to me is I'm nothing without him. So I'm never going to stop believing. I'm always going to believe in the man upstairs until my time is up here. So that's kind of easy for me. It's not really hard or a lot to say about that other than I'm going to be a believer until my time is up. Yes, sir.
Would you like to say anything else?
No, I think that pretty much sums me up.
All right, let me ask you a non-football or non-sports question. Was your grandma one of these little old ladies that went to church with a different hat on every Sunday?
She wasn't little, but she didn't wear a lot of hats.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
she was just who she was. You know what I mean? She's still part of the missionary board at the church that I grew up in now. I mean, that I grew up in. So
If you don't mind me asking, how old is she?
She just turned 83 in July 2nd.
And she's still on the missionary board.
Still on the missionary board. Even if it's 5 people that show up.
Oh, they're going for a group shot.
Oh,
we got to finish this up, folks.
Okay.
Wait, finish up about your grandma. People want to hear about your grandma.
So she's still on the missionary board, and she'll be on the missionary board until her time is up. So, and she's been a great role model for me as well. So I love my grandmother, Betty Matthews, to life.
All right, Mr.
Yes,
D,
sir.
thank you so much. You got to
Yes,
go
sir.
get your picture taken.
Thank you.